Have you seen these pictures?
Yes, I have.
Shocking, right?
Her face hit that floor. When she jumped on me, she landed on her face.
There's no question she was assaulted. Listen, I don't know your name. You look like a nice lady. You want to get involved with that? The guy is not a gem.
This is Judy Justice.
Desiree Francis is suing her former friend, Ronnie Fairley, for damages from an assault.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Judge,
Evan?
case 3181, Francis versus Fairley.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, each of you claim the other assaulted the other. There are some other nonsense things here on a counterclaim that I'll go into if I have to. Miss Francis, you met Mr. Fairley online.
Yes.
That was in 2022,
Yes.
according to your complaint.
October 2022.
Mm-hmm. And am I correct that you are unmarried?
Yes.
And you, sir?
I'm married.
The complaint alleges that you met each other online, started to communicate, and became friends.
Yes.
Would
Yes,
that be
ma'am.
a fair statement?
Yes, ma'am.
Just for giggles and because I really like to understand. You know, in my line of work, it's always good to get to know what's in people's heads. What were you doing talking to the lady online? Is that your wife?
Fiance, yes.
So you're no longer married?
No, this is my fiance. Me and Miss Francis were never married. This is my fiance.
I want you to listen carefully, Mr. Fairley.
Ma'am.
I asked the plaintiff a simple question. I said to her, are you married? She said no. I asked you a simple question. I said, are you married? You said yes.
I said unmarried. I'm sorry. I said unmarried.
Did he say unmarried?
He said unmarried.
Unmarried. I've got to check this. Maybe I'm on restaurant mode. Hold on.
I apologize,
Television.
Miss Anna.
Restaurant. Normal. There we go. Unmarried.
Yes.
Unmarried. Okay, then I can get off this whole line of questioning. So you got reacquainted. And how long have you been engaged?
2 years, Your Honor.
Okay. Well, then I'm going to ask you, what are you doing online, communicating slowly? Because as you see, I have, may have at some point challenged hearing. And if someone is trying to get their tie out of their mouth, then it makes it even more difficult. So you want to tell me what you're communicating with this lady online for if you're already involved with somebody else?
Me and Desiree, we came across each other online. We started talking.
You came across online?
Yes, we came across each other online. We have a past with each other.
Okay, so you got reacquainted and you were friends.
Yes.
Did you ever become more than friends?
Yes, ma'am, we did.
And when was that?
From October of 2022 until January this year.
Okay, would you stay at her house? Would she stay at your house? Would you stay at a neutral house?
There was nobody staying at each other's houses. We would stay at hotels. But it wasn't a relationship. It's turned into a business relationship to where I started working for her travel company.
Okay, while you were working for her company...
I'm sorry, you asked why?
It's always kind of hard to shut the barn door, sir. While you were working for her company, were you also intimate with her?
At the time, Your Honor, I didn't have a...
Forget fiancé. At the time, you said it developed and you started to work for her company. I just want to know, at the time you were working for her company, were you still being intimate with each other? That's either a yes, or a no.
Yes, ma'am.
So that's a yes. Now, on January 10th of 2024, where did you travel to?
I was currently living in San Diego at the time. When he came to visit me on January 8th, I rented a Airbnb for us to stay at.
Why?
Because I have children that I wasn't ready to introduce him to.
Okay, so you have kids?
Yes.
That is a lie.
Okay, so you rented an Airbnb because he was coming to visit?
Yes.
And that was on the 8th?
Yes, he landed on the 8th in San Diego.
And did you and Mr. Fairley begin staying in the Airbnb?
Yes.
So
Yeah,
far, what?
I've had met her kids. I actually have video and pictures with her kids. So the fact that she said I don't know her kids, I didn't meet her kids.
No, she didn't say.
I'm sorry, I just sound like
She said introduce.
Introduce.
There's a
Sorry.
difference between introducing and having you there for breakfast when her kids wake up in the morning.
I've been there for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So I've
Really?
been there. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. This is what I don't understand, Mr. Fairley. I thought maybe I had misread it. The first line of your sworn answers says, Desiree and I have known each other since 2022. Desiree and I have never been in a relationship. I always made it clear that we were just friends. Then you go on to tell a story about what happened that is totally inconsistent with what I'm hearing today. So I'm just going to remind you, Mr. Fairley, that if you tell the truth right on top, you don't have to have a good memory. Because according to your answer, There was no intimacy involved. You were friends, and then you went to work for her. Well, that's not true. You want to show me pictures of you there for breakfast in the morning with her 3 kids. Now you're going to Airbnbs. Do you understand? Okay, so let's try to keep it straight. What were you supposed to be doing the 8th, the 9th, the 10th, because you were there at least until the 10th? What was your, take a deep breath, what was your plan for that week?
My plan was to only be there for a few days. The things that we had agreed on to handle while I was in town.
Like what?
For school, for work. Those are the 2 main things, for school, for work.
What school?
San Diego City College.
Well, what were you doing with San Diego City College?
I was going to school there, doing online classes.
What?
Yes.
You were going to online school, so you had to go there?
Well, I was there because things for financial aid I had to take care of. Those things for financial aid I had to take care of. That's the reason why I had to fly out there as well. I had this whole thing going on.
Your nose is starting to grow.
Is it?
Desiree Francis claims her former friend, Ronnie Fairley, owes for damages from an assault. Ronnie is countersuing for car expenses and travel costs.
Okay, so you had absolutely no need to be in San Diego to get a scholarship. As everyone knows, you do that online, and you go to school online. Going to school online means that you don't have to be in school. Don't say anything, madam. I want you to just listen, okay? Then you're armed with information. Then you can make a rational choice. Otherwise, he talks very fast. I'm going to introduce him to the truth probably at the end of this trial. Now, I'm trying to find out how you both ended up in the same Airbnb for 3 days.
The plan for him coming there originally was for him to come and see his girlfriend.
That would be you.
Me, yes.
Now I'm going to get into January 10th, when Miss Francis, you say that this man who came down to be with his girlfriend, you spent January 8th, January 9th. Now, January 10th, there was an incident. And I want you to start out by telling me what time on January 10th did this incident start?
The incident started after returning from dinner that night.
Tell me where you went for dinner.
It was a gas lamp district in San Diego, just like a pizza place.
Everybody drink?
Yes.
What was the drink of choice for him?
Hennessy.
Hennessy.
Yes.
And you?
Wine.
What time did you get back to the Airbnb from the restaurant?
Around 10 p.m.
Okay, now we're going to pick it up from there.
So after we returned to the Airbnb, we started getting ready for bed. We got in bed and became intimate.
No, they're not.
When that happened, the defendant noticed that I had started bleeding. He told me to get the bleeding fixed. I told him...
Just a second.
Sorry, Yana.
You have to understand something. Look at me. Women, do not talk about that unless it's true. There are far more sexy things to talk about. Do you understand that, Mr. Fairley? So stop grinning. Understand, just as the same way a man wouldn't talk about the fact that he was having difficulty romantically and testify to that unless somebody was putting nails up his feet. That's not a story you make up. Don't speak. Just listen. Go.
So when he told me that I needed to get it fixed, I explained that I had priorly been diagnosed with cancer, and I had been in remission, and I was scared that the blood that I was seeing was it coming back. When I told him that, he got angry and started packing his belongings. He packed a jersey that I had purchased for him that I told him I was going to have framed and mounted. He wanted to put that in a suitcase. I told him he was free to leave as long as he left that item.
Was it expensive?
It was a $600 jersey that I already had paid $800 to have framed.
Okay, go ahead.
I told him he was welcome to leave, as long as you leave that so that I can get it framed. He didn't want to leave it. He started getting in my face and yelling. I remember seeing his fist next to my face, and I remember him grabbing my shirt and my shirt ripping. After I remember seeing his fist, I was knocked unconscious. I don't remember falling to the ground. When I came to, he was leaving out of the door. I moved.
How much later?
I'm not sure how long I was unconscious. I don't believe it was very long, maybe a couple of minutes.
Okay, go ahead.
So when I came to, he was trying to leave. I remember him taking his phone out while I was up against the door bleeding, showing his phone like this and telling me that I was being a drama queen. I have photos of that incident. It was definitely not a drama queen, Your Honor. I currently have makeup to cover the scar that I have, but I have permanent nerve damage in my lip from this incident. I'm also missing a tooth and broke another one in half. I also had a closed head injury and a concussion.
Okay, so I'm going to take a look now at your photographs and your medical record. You did go to the hospital. You
Yes,
didn't
I
say
did.
you went to the hospital.
So these are the photos. And then these are from the hospital and the dentist.
Okay, Mr. Fairley, let's start with you're there, you're back from dinner.
Yes.
It's about 10 o'clock at night.
10 o'clock at night on January 10th, I'm laying there in the bed. She was entering the bed to try to be intimate with me. I refused her multiple times already prior to that.
Is what you're saying you refused on January 10th,
Yes.
not on the 9th.
No, on the 10th,
Not on the 9th.
we didn't do anything on the 9th.
You weren't intimate on the 9th.
No, we wasn't.
What about the 8th?
The 8th, yes.
You're picking up as you're going. And then you went out for this romantic dinner on the 10th.
I
You
don't
went
think
out
romantic
together.
dinner. It was a pizzeria, but okay. It wasn't really a romantic dinner.
No. Why, all of a sudden, on January 10th, after dinner, did you decide that you didn't want to be intimate with her?
Because this wasn't the first time that this has happened.
What
with
had
the,
happened?
With the incident with her bleeding. I told her, I understand the fact that you have cancer, you have everything going on, but at the same time, I do not want to be intimate with you.
So now the reason that you chose not to be intimate was because of her physical condition. So I'm going to ask you this question, Mr. Fairley. But for that situation with her bleeding, you would have continued as you had since you came to the Airbnb to be intimate. The reason you just gave me is because of her physical condition. Is that correct? Want her to read it back? No. Or you want to tell me again?
What I told you. That was one of the reasons.
Not one of the reasons. Not one of the reasons. What was the reason? You got into bed, she got into bed?
Because we were arguing before we started intimate.
About what?
About us wanting to be in a relationship with each other, and I told her I did not want to be in a relationship with her.
It really irritates me that you think you're smarter than I am.
I never said that.
I'm going to let you finish this. So she got into bed, and she was bleeding, and you said, I don't want to have any part of this. And then?
This is before I knew about the bleeding. I pushed her off. She tried to get back on. I pushed her off again. That's when she scraped my private part, and I pushed her off again. Then she tried to get on top of me, and I said to her, Des, we are not doing this.
Okay, so you said no, and then what happened?
It went left, completely left.
What?
It went left.
What does that mean?
It went left. It went off the rails.
Desiree Francis has accused her former friend, Ronnie Fairley, of assaulting her, causing permanent damage. Ronnie is countersuing Desiree for car expenses and travel costs.
Okay, I'm trying to create a word picture for myself. You were arguing with each other. It was starting to get heated.
Yes.
You decided to get out of bed, right?
Yes.
And to go and pack.
Yes.
And then what happened?
I'm asking her, please let me leave because this is going to go not the way that we want it to go. So when I tried to go to her to get her out of the way of the door, she starts pushing me back, starts pushing me. I turn around, and as I turn around, she's charging me from the back. When she's charging me from the back, that's when I flipped her over because she jumped on my back, so I flipped her over me. And that's when she scratched me on the side of my face and everything, and that's when she fell to the floor. Like, she landed head first on the floor after she jumped on my back.
How'd she get a split lip?
Her face hit that floor. When she jumped on me, I flipped her.
If she jumped on your back and you flipped her over, she would have landed on the back of her head.
No, because like the way...
Shh. If she jumped on your back and you flipped her over, she would have landed here. How did she get the split lip?
She landed on her face. So she's like a scorpion. It's like a scorpion. When your face is in the ground, your legs is up in the air towards your behind. That's what it was.
And then what happened, sir?
I got my things. I left. I went to a local hotel around the corner. I had scratch marks and marks on my hand and my face.
Have any photographs of that?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to take a look. Are you showing me that you had skin knuckle? Is that what you're showing me? I just want to know, sir, is what this picture is of a knuckle with skin off it. That's your knuckle, and there's skin off it.
Yeah.
Okie dokie. Now let me read you what your answer was, sir. You said Desiree decided to sneak into bed with me. She was drunk, and I told her no several times. So she got angry and bit me. Now, somehow you left that out. Whitney, We don't have to go back through the whole testimony. You did not take anything down that had anything to do with a bite.
I did mention that.
Nothing but a bite.
I did mention that. I just said, like, when she scraped my private part, I did say that.
He did say that she scraped his private parts.
Just a second. You said she bit me.
Like,
That's what you said in here. She bit me. Desiree then proceeded to cry and beg to enter a romantic relationship with her, to which I repeatedly declined. You had been intimate with her since January 8th. Interesting news, right?
I already know.
Oh, you already know, and you're jumping in anyway. Just wanted to make sure you know that this was January 10th, 2024. Shh.
I know about all of this.
Okay, walking in with your eyes wide open. Then you say, I got to the lobby and realized I forgot one of my suitcases. When I got back to the room, I found blood on the walls. Desiree had staged a crime scene. I quickly grabbed my stuff and left. You left out that fact, sir. You said you went to a hotel. Have you seen these pictures?
yes, I have.
Shocking, right? Have you ever seen these photographs?
I have.
Where?
She sent them to him and he sent them to me.
Okay.
He called me immediately when the situation happened. He called me.
You know why I'm looking at you, right? Okay. Just want to make sure that the two girls are in sync.
There's a whole lot behind it. There's a whole lot behind it.
Yeah. Nothing behind January 8th?
I knew about it.
Good. Okay. I have her hospital record, sir. There's no question she was assaulted on the night of January 10th. I've heard your side of the story. The only injury that I see in the photographs that you gave me are injuries consistent with her being punched in the face. You have a counterclaim that she assaulted you. That part of your counterclaim is dismissed. I saw no physical injury other than the physical injury that probably resulted in you punching her in the face when you got your knuckles scraped. You have some other nonsense in this countersuit. Desiree let me use her company car. Our agreement was that any maintenance would be covered by her. I had to pay for new tires and oil change. How often did you use the car?
About a year.
Is that because you didn't have a car?
At the time, I didn't.
What did you do with the car after the year?
The car actually got repossessed.
When?
The car got repossessed, I would like to say in, October?
What are you looking at her for?
I'm trying to remember the time that got repossessed.
Well,
in a month.
so they were...
It was in
Hey.
2024. It was early 2024.
After January. After this incident.
No. It was before the incident.
Oh, you have a counterclaim for car expenses. That part of your claim is dismissed. Now talk to me about a plane ticket. What plane ticket are you talking about?
She promised me verbally that she would pay for my plane ticket to go back home.
And she didn't for a year,
No.
right?
No.
Forget about it. Listen, I don't know your name. You look like a nice lady. This man wouldn't know the truth if he came up and introduced himself right to his face. Correct. Look at his face. He's used to getting over. You want to get involved with that? You look like a nice lady. Do you work?
I do.
I somehow knew that you had a responsible job. Does he work?
Not at the
The
moment.
answer is no.
No.
He doesn't work. He really doesn't know a lot about working.
No.
You think that that's going to change? It's not going to change. Go into it, eyes wide open. Eyes wide open. The guy is not a gem. Judgment for the plaintiff for assault in the amount of $10,000. This is an outrageous picture, sir. And the knuckle that has no skin on it supports this injury. You're an outrage, and I'm actually surprised you're not incarcerated. That's all. We're done.
This court is adjourned.
Kind of just glad the situation's over. I can put this behind me and move on with my life and just forget about this.
It's embarrassing what he's done.
No, I did not assault that woman at all.
I didn't know that he had a fiance. I thought he was completely single.
I pretty much laughed because I knew that she set up the whole thing to make it look more than it was.
It wasn't staged. It was from me being pushed backwards after being punched.
Close this chapter, move on with my life, and put her behind me.
I don't want it to happen to anybody else.
If that girlfriend, fiance of the defendant doesn't heed your advice about getting out while she still can, the fact that she said that she laughed off the photographs that she saw of the plaintiff's injuries, I'm just scared that she's going to be next if she hasn't been already. And that's a dangerous guy. If he's not working, he's not supporting you, he's not supportive emotionally, financially, there's absolutely no redeeming qualities about him.
That we can see.
Sure, that we can,
That maybe
that we
you
can
can
see
see.
or that are worth it.
Well, that's
for
even
your
better.
life. So, I hope she gets out.
This is the husband of your girlfriend.
Yes, ma'am. She witnessed him putting sugar in my gas tank.
And she stayed over in your house after they were married.
Yes.
I was trying to get away from that man.
That made you a little unhappy. Would that be a fair statement?
This is Judy Justice.
Tony Owens Jr. is suing his ex-wife's husband Michael Lawyer, for vandalizing his Jeep.
Court, come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Judge, case 3149, Owens Jr. versus Lawyer.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Owens, you have 2 children.
Yes, ma'am.
And I assume that this is the mother of your 2 children.
Yes, ma'am.
You were never married.
No.
And this is the husband of your girlfriend.
Yes, ma'am.
They are now separated.
Yes.
And she currently lives with you.
Yes.
Do we have that? Let's go through that one more time. You have 2 children with this young lady right here. Subsequent to having those 2 children, she married this gentleman. Short term, correct? How
Yes,
long?
ma'am. This coming April will be 2 years.
Short time. And since she's back living with you and the 2 children,
Yes, ma'am.
I assume that they did not have a happy 2 years. Is that clear to you what the relationships are? Or should I do it one more time? Is that necessary? This is what the case is about. It's complicated to follow. You got a car for one of your daughters. The car originally belonged to Mr. Lawyer, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
This was after your girlfriend and Mr. Lawyer married.
They weren't married when I got the car from him.
They were living together?
They were, yeah. She was his roommate, or she was his tenant.
Okay.
And they got married.
Well, they got to be more
After
than
I-
tenants,
I got
whatever,
the- I got the
whatever it
Jeep.
was. The car that you got ostensibly for your daughter
Yes.
belonged to Mr. Lawyer.
Yes.
And he gave it without any money to his to-be wife,
Yeah.
correct?
Yes.
And the to-be wife gave it to you, allegedly, for one of your girls to use to drive.
Unknowns to me.
You didn't know anything about that, all right? You gave it to wife for her use. She gave it to the ex-boyfriend, allegedly for one of the girls to use. That made you a little unhappy. Would that be a fair statement? Would be a
Yes.
fair statement. You were not happy with that. It all sounds as if you may have thought, making a fool out of me. It was ridiculous. I gave it to her to use. Okay, this is what the lawsuit is about. The lawsuit is about your allegation that Mr. Lawyer put sugar in the gas tank of the car in question, causing several $1,000s worth of damage. Is that what the lawsuit's about?
Yes.
That's what he says.
That's what he's saying. So I'm just going to get some dates from you. Give me a month and year. Did you give this car, what is it, a Jeep?
Yeah, a 1990 Jeep Wrangler.
Okay. What year did you give the Jeep?
2022.
In 2022, you gave the car to, what's your first name?
Jennifer.
You gave the car to Jennifer.
Yes, I did.
And
To be wife. Yes.
you were not married at the time.
No.
And you put it in her name?
Yes.
She didn't give you any money for it.
I didn't see any money transfer hand.
Didn't give you any money for it. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you married when, sir? Month and year?
April 27th, 2022.
25th.
25th? That was close.
22?
April 25th.
Is it 2022? I'm
yes.
not going to send you an anniversary card. I just need the month and the year. Okay. On what date did your girlfriend turn the car over to you?
In the beginning of April,
Of what year?
2022.
So the same time that he gave her the car, she gave it to you.
A month later, yes, ma'am.
I sold it.
Shh. A month later.
Yes.
I would like you, first of all, I'm going to put you outside while I take some testimony because I'm going to want to take yours later, and I don't want it to be in any way colored by what you hear now. Okay, so now, Mr. Owens, I would like for you to tell me what conversations you had with the lovely Jennifer about the transfer of this Jeep in April of 2022 to you.
Me and Miss Lawyer, we talked about...
Jennifer
Yes.
and I.
Well, Jennifer and I talked about getting a vehicle for my daughter to drive, a Jeep, but I needed a vehicle at the time, so I said I would get it.
Let's go slowly. You and Jennifer talked about getting a car for one of your daughters.
Yes.
Got that. Then very quickly you glossed over, and I didn't have a car myself at that time.
Mm-hmm. Well, at the time, I was looking at a Jeep online myself, and I sent a picture to her, a green one, and she said, oh, well, Mike gave me this Jeep. I can't drive it. It's not really, the pedals are weird. She didn't like driving it, so she said she was going to talk to Mike and see if I could buy the Jeep off of them. And I said, okay, talk to him, and I agreed. At the time, she had a vehicle, and I was looking for a vehicle. When I sent her a picture of the Jeep, she was telling me about his Jeep.
So you repeated that story once already.
So then that's how the conversation went about the Jeep.
Did you pay her for the Jeep?
Tony Owens Jr. claims his ex-wife's husband, Michael Lawyer, vandalized his Jeep by putting sugar in the gas tank.
Now, did you pay her for the Jeep?
I paid $800 for the Jeep. She was living with him at the time.
Shh. What did I have to do? I asked you a simple question. I said, did you pay her for the Jeep?
She said she gave it to him.
Shh. How much did you pay her?
$800.
Did you give her the $800 in check or cash?
No, it's cash.
Everybody deals in cash these days. Interesting. And where were you when you gave her the cash?
I was at my house.
At your house. So she drove the car to your house.
No, I had it towed. The tires were dry rot. I had the Jeep towed to my house. She drove her car.
And that was in April of 2022.
Yes.
So the Jeep was towed to your house, and when the Jeep was deposited in your house, she gave you $800.
No, I gave her $800.
Oh, you gave her $800 in cash. Now I need the month and the day and the year when you allege that Mr. Lawyer vandalized your car by putting sugar in the tank.
Like I said, in April, I got the Jeep. And then at the beginning of May, I got tires put on. I was trying to get it in running order for me to drive. And then that weekend, my witness, came to my house, and she was drinking, so she didn't drive home. She stayed there.
Just a minute. That would be May of 2022.
Yes.
Okay, but this incident happened in 2023.
22. Was it 22 or 23?
No, don't look at him.
22. It's 22.
Don't look at him.
It's 22.
22. In May of 22. What's the date in May of 2022 that his wife was staying over in your house?
May 20th.
And she stayed over in your house after they were married?
Yes.
Yes.
I have 2 children. We co-parent. She's got her own spare bedroom.
Co-parenting is not exactly what I would call it when she stays over at your house. That's not what I would call it. That's not co-parenting.
Co-parenting.
That's cohabiting. That's not co-parenting. There's a difference between cohabiting and co-parenting. She stayed over at your house because she was drunk.
Yes, showed up drunk. Later on that night, Mr. Lawyer came to my house upset that, she was at my house, which I understand that, and brought a gun with him.
No, I didn't.
And went out in my driveway. Well, him and her got into an argument.
Oh, he and Jennifer.
Went out in the driveway. He punched her a couple times. He left, and then she came back in. I talked to Mr. Lawyer about the Jeep. He was fine with it. He was telling me, well, it polishes up real nice, this and that, because I was...
When was this, after he punched his wife?
After he punched her.
After he punched his wife?
He also brought over, I got proof that he brought over the soft top for the Jeep. We've had plenty of conversations about the Jeep. He knew all about the Jeep. It's not like I got the Jeep from her without him knowing. The money went to him that I gave her for the Jeep.
Let's get to this incident that you're alleging happened. Did that happen on May 20th?
Then the next weekend, Mr. Lawyer and Jennifer came
then she went home.
Yeah, they were still together. They came to my house together. She dropped off something for my daughter. She was in the house, and she witnessed him putting sugar in my gas tank.
You didn't see it?
I was at work.
So the answer is you didn't see it?
No, ma'am. Had a police report here. It's on camera. Video.
Do you have the video?
No, I have the police report. It's in detail about what the police officer
Okay, I'm going to take a look at it. Thank you. Well, this incident didn't happen on May 20th. It happened on June 1st, according to this.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I was getting there. I was getting there.
Get there fast enough. This show does not have an intermission. Mr. Lawyer, you were taken into police custody?
Yes, I was.
Okay, as a result of this incident?
Yes, I was.
And you had an attorney?
Yes. I pay monthly for an attorney because I own apartments, and I get sued all the time from owning apartments.
Okay, so you had an attorney representing you on this? And you appeared in court?
Yes, many times.
What happened with regard to this case? Do you have a certificate of disposition? Mr. Lawyer, there was a costs amount of $125. Did you pay that?
Yes, I paid some court costs.
Okay. And the charge was criminal mischief. And ultimately, the case was dismissed, it looks like, without prejudice.
Yeah.
What did you have to do in order to get the case dismissed without prejudice, which means they can bring it back? Did you have to perform any community service? Did you have to provide money? This doesn't tell me enough.
They just said, pay the court costs and you're free. You're done.
Pay the court costs. Okay, you know more?
Yes. The reason why they dismissed it is because I didn't show up to court. He told me this.
That the reason they dismissed it because you weren't there?
Yes. I got a text message from him. He gave me a text message telling me, thank you for not coming to court. I owe you big time.
Can I see it, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Had he asked you not to come to court?
I didn't have to be there. They just mistakenly, since I wasn't there, they dismissed it.
If they had that much evidence.
Shh. He admits to doing the sugar.
Shh.
No.
Okay.
Okay, so Mr. Lawyer, January 11th, you wrote to him, thank you, Tony. The U is in capital letters because you didn't show up. They threw it out, exclamation point. I owe you for sure. Need a favor? I got your back. Haven't heard from Jen for some days now. Is everything okay? Yeah, I need the money to fix the Jeep. That Jeep was for Aubrey, and you blanked it up by putting sugar in the tank. I got an estimate for $22.95, but I'll take $1,200 to get a new tank and lines ran. If you do that, I won't pursue any further. You answered him. I have a place that can do it cheaper if you want to go that route. Then you say again, what about Jen? Is she all right? You know I will always love her and cherish her. I don't talk to Jen hardly at all. She goes to work and sleeps all day. I already told her I'm not giving her another chance to hurt me. I only let her stay there because she said you were trying to kill her. And then you answer, never, never, never did I try to kill that girl. Okie dokie.
Tony Owens Jr. has accused his ex-wife's husband, Michael Lawyer, of putting sugar in his Jeep's gas tank, causing it to break down.
Now, we're going to bring Jen back inside. It appears from these text messages that you acknowledged that you were prepared to pay something to have the car fixed as a result of the sugar being in the tank. That's a
yes.
Okay. And how much were you prepared to pay him?
I could have had it done for $400 and some if he hadn't drove it for months afterwards with the sugar in the tank, supposedly sugar, because I don't think I got any in it.
You don't think you got any in it?
No, because I was so nervous. It spilled all over the place and got it mostly all over the ground and everything.
Okie dokie. Well, that's sort of honest. All right, Jennifer, I know you're a busy girl, so stand right over there, and I'll try to make this as fast as possible. Mr. Lawyer gave you a car. You had it for a month. Tell me about the conversations you had with Mr. Owens about the car. Look here.
I tried to drive it, and I couldn't reach the pedals, and it needed a lot of work, and I didn't think I really wanted it. And I knew that him and the kids needed a car at the time because I was doing all the driving for the whole family, and I was living 30 minutes away. So since we weren't using the car, I offered to sell it to him so that he could use it for now, and then we could fix it up and give it to Aubrey when it came to her time.
Did you discuss that with Mr. Lawyer first?
Yes.
First. Did you discuss it with him first? Is the question.
No, I didn't.
All right. You didn't discuss it with him first. Okay. And when there was a transfer, were you paid any money?
Yes.
How much?
$600.
$600. Check, cash, money order?
Cash.
What did you do with the $600?
I offered to give him some of it because he was fine with the whole ordeal. He was good with it. His feelings were a little bit hurt.
Just a second.
Didn't ask.
Just a second. You discussed it with Mr. Lawyer after you had already made the agreement because he didn't know anything about it. So now I sort of get it. Now we're moving forward a little bit. And two of you had sort of a falling out. You went over and stayed over with Mr. Owens for a night. You came there drunk.
I went there and seen my kids because there was an altercation somewhere else, and I was trying to get away from that man.
Were you drunk?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's all I asked you. I said you went over and you stayed over there because you were drunk. Now, there is information in the police report that you observed Mr. Lawyer doing something to the car.
Yes.
Okay. Now, before you were brought back inside, Mr. Lawyer sort of, at least to my satisfaction, acknowledged that he was trying to put sugar in the car, but he didn't think any got into it because there was a whole bunch around it. Right?
It didn't go like I thought it would. I thought it would just smoothly go down.
Listen to me. Listen to me. I didn't ask you anything,
Okay.
Tony.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Do you understand? Nothing. The reason I'm looking so quizzically, Mr. Lawyer, is because you swore in your answer, and I'm very happy that now being here and faced with this face, you want to tell the truth.
Yeah.
Because in your answer, you say you went there to put sugar in the tank, but had a change of mind, turned around and left. But that isn't true. What happened is now, according to you, you were trying to get the sugar in the tank, but were shaking and didn't figure out how to do it. All right,
it was a mess.
You acknowledged in this exchange that you can get the car fixed for $1,200. That's what you said. Did you get the car fixed?
No, not yet.
You mean you've been driving it
I
around?
haven't been driving it.
Where is it?
It's in my driveway. I haven't been driving it.
For how
This happened.
For how long?
Just since this happened in May.
Well, you did drive it afterwards for a short period of time.
For a little bit, maybe a week.
Listen to me.
It wouldn't start.
Pay careful attention. You were driving around in the car after the sugar was in the tank.
Yes, for a week.
For a week. And then it stopped running?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you can get it fixed for $1,200 is the exchange that you had with the defendant.
Yes, ma'am.
Good. Are you together now?
No.
The two of you?
No.
No.
We are co-parenting.
We're
Co-parenting.
Co-parenting. Like
Which,
you said it.
nice to co-parent. I like co-parenting. Co-parenting is very, very...
And I pay half the bills.
Do you live in the same house?
Yes, we do.
Okay, good.
Because I left my apartment.
Just,
Yeah.
I didn't ask you anything else. I just asked you if you live in the same house. The answer is yes. All right. Okay, I've enjoyed this. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,200. We're finished. Thank you very much.
This court is adjourned.
She wanted the Jeep to get to him, and not for the kids, but for him.
He needed a vehicle, and after I drove it, I didn't want it. Wasn't what I was looking for.
Honest to God, you put the sugar in, and it just stuck there. And I took the funnel out, and it went all over the ground and all over the place, and I don't think there was any sugar in that tank at all.
Like he said, he was all shaky. He dropped most of the sugar on the ground, and some did get in there, but I mean, I can get it fixed myself.
Well, it's been an ongoing investigation and an ongoing thing in the courts for almost a year and a half, and I'm just glad it's over with and it's done and I can get on with my life.
I thought he was a nice guy that was going to help me out and promised me a rose garden, and he gave me a bunch of thorns.
You know what's getting harder for me as I get older? The law is relatively consistent and easy. You know, once you've been playing with it in your mind for 60 years, there are very few other stories you haven't heard, and the law remains pretty consistent. I'm really having a problem with these convoluted social situations.
They always seem to come out in court.
Ex-girlfriend, with whom I have 2 children, sold me a car that her then just older boyfriend gave her.
Turned husband.
Well, that sort of didn't work out, and now she's living in my house, but we're not living together. We're just co-parenting.
Yeah. The social structure, the social fabric has changed immensely.
It's getting very confusing.
I'll try and keep you as on top of it as I can.
Thank you, but that's your job. You take the dog to a groomer and there's an accident.
I was always happy with the results, but this day, it kind of turned into a nightmare. His activity has declined. He's not the same. His mobility isn't the same because of the incident that they caused.
You're not an expert.
It's because of the accident that they caused.
Get me a vet.
This is Judy Justice.
Katina Jones is suing her former dog groomer, Diana Torres, for vet bills and damages from negligent dog grooming services.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Case 3141, Jones versus Torres.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Miss Jones, you have a dog that you allege was injured when you took the dog into the defendant's grooming place of business.
Correct.
You've used the defendant's facilities before.
Yes, ma'am.
She's groomed your dog before. What kind of a dog is it?
I have a Maltese. He's 3 years old.
And how long have you been taking it to the defendant's store?
Maybe 2 years now.
How often? Is it a male dog?
Yes, ma'am.
How many times a year do you take him to be groomed?
I try to take him for a haircut between every 8 weeks because I groom him in between with baths and things like that.
And you've never had a problem?
No, not with them, not up until this day.
Do you do the grooming yourself?
Myself or my other groomers, whoever she books, because we have a booking system, so she either calls and whatever groomer has an availability will book the dog under the groomer.
On the day in question, were you the groomer for the dog?
I wasn't at the beginning, but at the end, I was the one who finished the groom, correct.
Was that after the dog was injured?
Correct, yes, after the dog was
Who was the groomer?
a seasoned groomer that we had.
What was the date of this visit where the dog was injured?
It was November 22nd, before Thanksgiving.
Did she ask for a specific groomer?
No.
What kind of a license do you need in order to groom dogs?
In the state of Texas, you do not need a license.
Now, why don't you tell me what happened when Miss Jones brought her dog in to be groomed? You say you finished the grooming. How did you start the grooming?
So the dog was dropped off, and we initially take the dog in, check in, and she'd let us know what she wanted done.
Who did you expect to groom your dog?
Miss Diane.
Had she usually groomed your dog?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, she dropped the dog off November 22nd.
Yes, ma'am.
It was a pretty crazy, hectic day before
Doesn't
Thanksgiving.
matter. Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Keep going.
He was matted because the dog hadn't been seen 2 months prior. Ms. Jones, she said she's been a customer for 2 years and only has come in 6 times, which we have documented. And every time she would come in, we would either need to...
ज़्यादा जो सफ़र है ना वो सिर्फ फतेह चौक तक है बस तंग करने वाला है ना